Hey everyone, hope everyone's doing well. I'm gonna wait for some people to come on. If people are gonna come on, I know some people said they wanted to join. Today's gonna be an awesome day. Good afternoon, everyone. Hello, how you guys doing? Thank you for joining. Okay, so this is also gonna be posted up. So if anybody wants to check it out later, you can check out the post. And yeah, we're thankful to be here. I'm thankful to be in this space with everybody, and love to see. Hope this serves people. So these are some habits and things that I'm learning that have really benefited me. This guy, anytime I read books that pertain to habits and changing my habits, they've always helped me focus on my habits and get sharper in my own life. So it's just a great thing to do. So I recommend you actually read the book Atomic Habits. But to me, also, there's a lot of anxiety and stress out there. And my first book is Abundance, A Journey from Anxiety and Depression. And I feel the reason people face all this anxiety and depression is because they don't set goals for themselves. And that's what we really got to do, is set goals for ourselves and really just continuously move forward. And actually, I'm going to break that. And it's not really just goals, but setting up systems and routines to help us stay positive, stay full of love, right? And do the right things and go after whatever we need to. Be a good family member, do what we need to and not get distracted by Instagram and Facebook. Like when I use these platforms, it's for a good reason. I don't use it to just play around or get distracted. You know how many times I look at Instagram and I didn't pay attention to my own wife or my son, right? And my son is only 3.5 months. So even if it's 15, 20 minutes, that's time I could be spending with my loved ones or doing something more positive towards my life. Those little minutes add up, right? So Atomic Habits, phenomenal book. I'm going to jump into it. So we're going to start off with the fundamentals. He has a lot of other stuff, but I'm not going to touch what he talked about before in his journey. But I'm going to touch on the key topics. So the fundamentals, why tiny changes make a big difference, right? So those tiny changes make a huge difference. It's really true. He really started the book off with these British cyclists, and they lost for many years in a row. And all they did was change one thing at a time, 1%. They just had these little tweaks. And they got 1% better each and every time. And then they won a whole bunch of championships in a row for the bike cycling, right? So it shows you, he talks about, if you can get 1% better each day for 1 year, you'll end up 37 times better by the time you're done. Conversely, if you get 1% worse each day for a year, you'll decline nearly down to zero. So I'll show you the contrast of what it looks like. So that's your decline, right? That's a decline. And that's what would happen. And that's how you would excel. You'd grow exponentially if you do the right thing, right? If you just increase 1%, you don't change dramatically, because when you change dramatically, it doesn't last. We want to just continue to tweak what's working and just keep pushing forward, right? So we have to make a few changes, but the best results never seem to come quickly. So we slide back into our previous routines. Sometimes we fall into boredom and we feel like, oh, this is monotonous. We're doing the same thing over and over. But if it works, we have to get used to that boredom, right? And just put incentives to it. Put things that you like to do, right? So that's how I think about it, and that's how we have to work on it. We have to think about things we like to do and work off of that, right? So if I have goals and systems that seem mundane, then I'll set an incentive. Like, hey, if I do 10 of these things, I will go out to eat once a month. Or I'll spend $20 on clothes or food or whatever I want. But things that I want, I'm not just going to give myself them just because I can. I want to set goals and incentives to make me push forward. He was talking about New York City to LAX. If you were going on that trajectory, when you were taking off from LAX, if you just went 3.5 degrees, like literally like this much, like, so say this is 3.5 degrees is a little amount. and you would actually end up in Washington, D.C. Right? So we have to be careful of where we steer to, and those little changes do make a difference. So similarly, a slight change in your daily habits can guide your life to a very different destination. Do we want to end up somewhere different, or do we want to stay in the same places, right? If you look around you, the people around you, have they moved that far in life? Do you want to? Right? It's really about just understanding you could and making those changes. Making a choice to be better 1% or 1% better or 1% worse over the span of time, those moments make up a lifetime of choices that determine the difference between who you are and where you could be. So who you are and where you could be is two different places, and who you could be, right? You could be somebody totally different, right? That's pretty cool. Like, we have this opportunity and we could think, right, as human beings. Success is the products of daily habits, not once in a lifetime transformation. You don't change overnight. It's not going to be one magnificent transformation. You got to just continually decide and keep pushing forward. And they talk about compounding effects. He talks about a whole bunch of different compounding effects, you know, your relationships, your productivity, your knowledge, and how that adds up. And it could work on both sides. The negative side, stress compounds, negative thoughts compounds, and so does outrage compounds. If you progressively go down that way, that's what's going to happen. So I hope everybody's following me. So what I really want to differentiate, which I think he did a great differentiation of, is what is the difference between systems and goals? Right? Who wants to do all these different amazing things? Right? We all want to do it. But when you don't hit that goal, sometimes you get depressed or you feel bad. And then sometimes you don't get back up and chase that goal again. But when you create a system, you continuously keep progressing. And it shows you what happens is, here, you don't fall into that latent expectation. You keep progressing forwardly. A lot of people think, if you see it starts off later, your wins start off a lot later. It's not just one straight progression. You got to build up that momentum, the systems to work it out. Goals are about the results you want to achieve. Systems are about the processes that lead to those results. Goals are good for setting a direction, but systems are best for making progress. So goals, we need goals. We want to set a direction, but if we want to progress towards those, we got to work on the systems, right? So we got to work on, getting up at a certain time, going to sleep at a certain time, journaling, whatever it may be, picking up the phone at a certain time and just doing it, right? Implemented. So even if you think about Starbucks, you know why they're better? You know why they're so big? Because they just decided to be 10% better, right? And if you do 1% better daily, that means you're 37 times better. 37 times better. That's 3,700%. What we really need to change are the systems that cause those results. When you solve problems at the results level, you only solve something temporarily. In order to improve for good, if we want to maintain that elevation and keep elevating, we need to solve the problems at the system level. Fix the inputs and the outputs, and they'll fix themselves. And that's what he really talks about. So I'm going to kind of stop it at that. And what I would really say is, your habits could either work against you or for you. And it's really up to what you do. You got to decide what you're going to do with them. And just progress. Don't think there's going to be some big transformation. But if you do a habit that doesn't serve you, it's going to compound. Right? And if you do a habit that serves you, it'll compound. So just continually work on those things and refine your systems to help you achieve those goals you want, but work on your systems to get there. All right, so that's the first step. He's going to talk about a lot more stuff. The first things are a little more conceptual to understand where you're heading. They are going to be more practical things, but if you did learn anything, please write in the comment box or, reach back out. And we love you guys, and I hope you have a blessed day. Thank you.